Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Holistic Love. Oh my goodness, where this is the channel where you're getting an opportunity to get tips and just personal stories and journeys of experts and the lovely hostesses here on how to self-love, to create healthy connections, and really begin to live the life you want to through self-actualization and realization. And those are the steps, my ladies and gentlemen. Those are and today we are gonna have a really awesome topic to talk about. First and foremost, I am your host, by the way, Fox RedSky, cosmic matchmaker, astrologer, and I have in as my two hostesses here, Ashley Cantu, who is astounding, beautiful model as well as a coach, and I also have the lovely, amazing Jenna Love.
Hello, lovelies.
And ladies, what have we come to talk to the audience today about? What are we talking to them about?
Ooh, it's a juicy one today, y'all. We're going to be talking about ways that we can block love. Loving relationships, loving partnerships. How are we blocking love in our lives?
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about healthy relationships, how to keep a relationship healthy. Yes.
Yeah, we're not just going to get on here and complain. We will offer
Good
you some
positive.
solutions. So yes, honestly, if you're just tuning in right now, we are going to be talking about how we sometimes block love from coming into our lives, and also what can we do to create healthy relationships? What is the pathway? Like, where's the roadmap, y'all guys? Like, we need to find this stuff out. So yes, and each one of these ladies has a lot of experience and knowledge, whether through personal or just talking with different clients. And yeah, like so I would like to start with you, Ashley. How are we blocking love from entering our lives?
Okay. So, can you repeat that again?
How are we blocking love? How are we stopping it from coming into our life?
So sometimes, sorry, I just need a cough really bad.
No worries. We're all good.
Sometimes we either get too busy and distracted that we don't have any space for love. So it's very important to create space, like you said earlier, for love, and put yourself out there, and sometimes even going to classes like fitness classes or any healing classes, any learning classes.
And we'll tell you all those suggestions later in the podcast. Okay. But let's focus on this real quick for a minute. Like, what is it that's preventing everyone from experiencing a healthy love that's like blocking them? I know I hear it, and you probably hear it too, Jenna. What people are like, I can't find anyone. Oh my God, there's no one there. That's the question we need to be asking ourselves is what's blocking that? Like, there's tons of people on the planet. There's about 8 billion of us. Come on now. So
yeah. Well, there's so many different things that can be blocking us from love. And I just want to touch briefly on what Ashley was talking about. And, I had a client once who she came to me and she was like, I keep attracting these guys who don't have time for me.
Yeah.
And when we took a look and took a step back at her life, it ended up that she actually didn't have time and space in her world either. And she was attracting that.
Now, let's see.
Yeah. So it's basically, there's so many different things that can block us, but often it's our own kind of unconscious. We obviously are not going to consciously block love in our life, right? It's not at all. Not. And so there's so many different ways. It can be unresolved, trauma or past occurrences that's happened in our life and we're wounded. And so opening ourselves up and being vulnerable just is way, way, way too scary. So we push love away. Of course, we don't say oh, I'm pushing you away. We do it through our actions. We do it by the way that we don't show up, or maybe we ghost, or maybe we just simply don't return that phone call or message. There's so many different ways that love can be blocked.
Yeah, and for me, what I've witnessed, as a matchmaker and as a married woman myself, just different things, listening to my girlfriends and so forth, is that there's a level of perfectionism. Like we want all these boxes checked. And if somebody doesn't match, and they could be amazing, we could have great energy with them. Oh, but they're only 5'10". They're not 6'2". Or they only make 60,000 a year and not 100,000 or 300,000, whatever it is, And so it's like, I think too is that we can be our worst enemies. And maybe this applies to men as well. I mean, I think men can also be perfectionists when it comes to.
Yes.
So can you all speak to this? Like, have you seen women or men that that have like blocked love just simply because, well, that's not the check mark?
Well, yeah, I have just through like the thing like I'm not a big fan about dating apps. It hasn't worked for some, so it might work for some, might not for others. But I feel like that's people judge more physically.
Right.
And if you you don't know, sometimes you connect with someone that you actually don't see it so attractive, but
Right.
because this happened to me. I went to a class and I literally didn't go for that reason. But if I told myself there's no one that interests me physically, but there's a man that started talking with his experience and knowledge, and me and my friend were with our mouth open. Like that's the thing. If you only judge by a cover, you're never gonna find the person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Because like when you value someone basically on their physical appearance, I mean, I don't know. I've known a lot of beautiful narcissists. I mean, that's a book if anyone wants to write it. But like I'm just saying, like we can value status, money, and fame, but like really, what's like the nitty gritty for true healthy connection is consideration. I don't know,
Empathy.
like empathy.
Compassion.
Thank you. I mean, like I would really like to have, yes, it's nice to have whatever, a physical physique or whatever. And you should be doing that regardless in your life, like
Yeah.
Ashley always says. But we should all be taking care of ourselves. We should never let ourselves go. But like this level of like they have to be like a celebrity style, like perfect perfection. That doesn't
Or has a certain car.
that
or
doesn't
like,
exist,
yeah,
y'all
house.
guys. Like that's not the real world.
Yeah, it's more about how do you want this relationship to make you feel?
Feel.
Like, how is this person going to show up for you when you're sick or when you need your tires flat?
Yes.
Or like these important things that you want to find in a love and a partnership, not just superficial things, because those things don't last anyways.
I always say that who's gonna be there when on your deathbed?
Yeah.
3 a.m. whenever, like who's gonna answer you? Who's gonna be there? Like the people that matter. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not. And youth and beauty doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
It's not an infinite amount of thing. It's like eventually we will all be in our 70s and 80s. God bless. We all live that long. I hope I do. But yeah, and so it's like, we just need to get out of this. And this is a culture that's kind of developed through television and the internet and this whole addiction is. But the point is,
The
this is
rom-coms.
this is blocking love, y'all guys. In my heart of hearts,
Yeah.
I really believe this.
People give up so easily nowadays. A lot of divorces, like people don't want to try anymore. That thing is like trying, like because we have proof, like Jenna's relationship, that they hit rock bottom, but they found ways, and now it's blooming again. You know.
Yes, right. It does take like showing up consistently and getting back up on the horse and saying, okay, let's try again. Let's try a new way, a new orientation. Getting creative on how can we create solutions here.
Yeah.
Something else I wanted to touch on is, and I see this a lot with clients, but people not believing deep down inside, unconsciously, that they're worthy of love.
That is a
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
We don't. I have to say, this is something that speaks to me.
Same.
Like I feel like I am so good at telling everyone how worthy of love they are, and then like a very good friend of mine pointed out and said, "Hey, Fox, like I love you. You're an amazing person. You are always trying to be there for community, but like I noticed that you don't really spend a lot of time loving yourself." And I was like, "Oh no!"
And like,
pulled out.
Ouch.
I was like, dang. And but then I started committing more to that. Like, where does that root come from?
Yeah.
Like, and then that's the thing. It's not like necessarily that belief system isn't necessarily rooted in the present. It could be something from 10, 20, 30, however many years ago. And you gotta like, I know I've been down this rabbit hole, y'all guys. I've been in it.
Yeah, because as a child, if our parents don't give us the love and attention that we so crave as a child, then we internalize that as I'm not worthy of their love. And it may just be that they're busy working.
Yes.
Or for me, my parents were alcoholics, so they weren't able to show up for me in the way that I needed to. And I internalized that as I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be further from the truth.
I had an ex like that. Recently I cried because I met up with a friend and told me something that I've never thought in my life. I said that I attract stressful, busy men. I think I said this before. And he said, was there someone and your parents like was always busy, never there for you? And yeah, that was my mom because she had to work. Not because she didn't want to provide, but she was never there. So I attract those people that are always busy and always trying to seek validation, and because they're not there. And I'm thinking, I'm not worthy then, But it's just that they're working for themselves and like how everyone should work,
Absolutely. So, audience, if y'all are listening at home, remember that you are worthy of love.
Amen.
Without a doubt. And I'm just going to break out a little book I wrote here called 7 Easy Steps to Attract
Just 7.
Your Soulmate. And in this book right here that I wrote, you can find on Amazon, is actually, I had listed some stuff. I had actually touched on that, is the ways we potentially block partnership.
Ooh,
and
tell
so
us.
the first one was perfectionism, right?
Yes.
Like letting go for this need of having this like 2 kids with the picturesque, let's
white
throw that
picket
away.
fence, yeah.
Yes.
There's no perfect people in the world, y'all guys. It just does not exist. We're all works in progress.
Right.
Fear of vulnerability, which I think you'd mentioned. Yeah, like some of us are scared to like, we have this facade of who we think we are, and then like we don't want people to get that
Judged
close.
or something.
See
Oh
us
my
without
God.
makes on, or see us farts, or see us
I see a fart.
be a human.
Whatever it is, yeah, absolutely. Comparison, kind of like, oh my old partner did this, and my ex-wife did that. It's like, no, dude, like you are blocking.
Like leave it the past in the past, and you're with the person. Like just be present with what you have and future.
Y'all heard that? Y'all listen to Ashley.
That's right. Be present.
Present.
I think too, overthinking. We get sometimes, and I've seen this with so many of even my own personal friends, where they start to like talk themselves out of it in their head because it's like I don't know what, Jenna, I don't know what you would describe that kind of like pattern. Where you're overthinking it and kind of trying to find all the things that are wrong that could possibly go wrong. What is that? Do you remember?
Overanalyzing. And when you're thinking in your head, you're not thinking with your heart, right?
Ooh.
And in relationships, we do need to let our heart lead.
I like there's a thing that I saw. I think I mentioned in another podcast. 99% of the harm you do it to yourself, and the 1% is reality. So a lot of the times I tell my friends, see what's in front of you, not you have it in your head, your story, like what's reality right now.
Yeah, 100%. I think that we can kind of, that's a very self-sabotaging technique we could do to block love, y'all guys. I'm just saying.
And that's a form of fear, right?
Yeah.
And fear can be false expectations appearing real.
Yeah.
It's not real, right? It's just like projecting your own fears onto the present moment, and that has got to go. Yeah.
So I think that sometimes there's like a push and pull, like rushing in and then pulling away, and that's more of like that, I think, avoidant attachment style that we'll talk about on this podcast, and it's probably talked on many podcasts.
The attachment styles.
Yeah. And then the number one is lack of self-love, y'all.
First you.
So.
Yeah, and what happens there is when we don't believe that we're worthy, that's when we accept the breadcrumbs, right? And we just get this like half-ass type of people showing up in our life that don't really fully show up. So yeah, it's when we can fully love ourselves and fully accept ourselves that we're going to find men or women in our life that can do the same.
Also, the way you speak, like when someone says men suck, well, then the men's gonna suck, you know. And all the men,
Those
no matter
limiting
all the good
beliefs.
stuff that comes to you, is always gonna suck because you
Don't
say
call it into existence.
Yeah,
yo.
don't call it existence. So whatever you say is gonna come, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those limiting beliefs are so real. I mean, they're all over the place, and some people's minds, they're like, you know, I don't have enough time, and there's no one out there good enough for me, and that, I mean, I could go on and on about the list.
Yeah, and I think too that it creates a greater divide because it's like, well, all men are abusers. That's not true.
No.
All
Some
women
bad apples
just want to
only.
like take men for their money. That's not
No.
true. And then like, you know, there's these retarded, excuse my language, these very negative narratives that get pushed by both sexes that just like continues toxic patterns. It's just not good. It's not. Neither one of them are healthy,
Right.
and
Yeah.
neither one of them are right.
Right.
It's like it's just a very
We're all humans,
generalized
yeah.
stereotype. So.
And you get what you believe, right? So your thoughts become your beliefs, and your beliefs become your words, and your words become your habits, and your habits become your reality. So,
Amen, sister.
yeah, really checking your thoughts is
Your
a
thoughts.
huge key.
Yeah, yeah. And then another thing I think that we'll quit talking about the things that are blocking it because there's probably like a long dirty laundry
Right.
list. We've already kind of delved into it. We're gonna start talking about the ways we can create pathways, right? Create pathways to actually having healthy connections.
Yeah.
And those don't have to be rushed, y'all guys. Well, that's another episode.
I was gonna say like well, what you say, what ways can have a relationship or like attract, right?
So like we've talked about all the things that can block
Yes.
us, and now like what are the things that we can do to unblock it,
So
to remove those barriers?
I've told friends to make a list that will narrow it down. Like if you're going all these dates and you're confused who, where, if you literally sat yourself what you really want, and actually pay attention, that will narrow it down to less guys. And like then you will know who that is gonna narrow it to the one, you know?
Yeah. And you can start off with the attributes and the qualities of a person that you want in your life. And I think I touched on this earlier. It's really important to think about who are you going to be in this partnership? What are you going to be able to do? How are you going to feel? How are you going to show up for each other? What are you going to do together? These sort of things are really going to help you begin to create that love vision that you need. Just like a pilot's not going to get in a plane and go somewhere without knowing where he's going, right? So you have to have that vision on where do I want to be and who do I want to be in this partnership that I'm calling in.
And doing like realistically also, like the list, having realistic things, not like, oh, the tall person, like maybe your person is not super tall, like you just don't know.
Yeah, and being flexible. I think if you can get anywhere from 70 to 80% of your checklist counted, checked off, then you're doing good. Mm-hmm.
So everyone has flaws.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just gonna read out of the book of 7 Easy Steps right here. And you can find this on Amazon. It's 7 Easy Steps to Attract Your Soulmate. It's really I should really have titled it all the things you need to do to like work on yourself, but that's not how it is. So creating space for love, right? This is this chapter right here, and sometimes we need to do an emotional release, right? Because that could be that when we release the past, when it doesn't live inside our bodies anymore. That creates space, and you can do that through ceremony. You can do that through emotional freedom techniques, hypnosis. There's so many ways to be able to let go of the past. For me, it's like sweat lodge and teepee ceremony. Everybody there's a different paths to healing.
Yeah, this is my specialty. This is what I help my clients do, and I use a technique called quantum time technique, and it is magical. It's really, really powerful and quickly helping you create new neural pathways so that you can release anger, fear, shame, guilt, hurt, and sadness from the past.
Excellent.
Sounds
Yes. Woo. Time management, people, like you're complaining you don't have love in your life, but yet you are going to work 60 hours a week. You've got to have that empty cup.
I used to be that girl.
You've got to create not just space and, of course, number one, create space and time for yourself. Like, if you don't have time to even take care of yourself, then like you can't have a relationship, so don't try. But having time and space, so just, that's important.
Also, like I was gonna add to that, like I know some friends that are like, right now I can't date because I want to focus on my career. But what if like that person can help you? Like, why don't we grow together? Because then not limiting beliefs that you can't because you're on your career path. That's what I've heard from guys that I know.
Yeah, because there's a lot of pressure on men to be providers.
Yeah, providers. So
and
they need to grow
that is a whole nother episode because there's a story that like men only have value if they have status and women only have value if they have beauty. And I think that, but that's another episode. So thank you, Ashley. You're absolutely right. Decluttering your environment.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Don't forget your car.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'm guilty.
I mean, and even the smallest things like dust particles, dust actually is stagnant energy, right? And if we don't let the energy around us flow, then how is love going to flow into us? And this is we could do a whole episode on this one because this is something I really talk to my clients about creating space for the love in your life. So even leaving a little space in your closet for your lover's clothes and a place for their toothbrush. And
that's cute.
Like there's a lot you could do. Cleaning out your closet and really allowing space for that new person to come into your life. Pretending as though they are already there is what I would say.
Yeah. And then setting boundaries. I think and this I can attest to this one. Like, we say yes to too many things, then we can't say yes to the thing we really want.
Ooh, I love that.
That's a good one.
And, if we're just like yes, then like there's no yes for us.
I used to be that girl that I'd be like yes to like please them, but what about me? I forgot about me. Yeah. But first you.
And then open communication. Like just be honest. I this is kind of like to the red pill gentlemen out there that are like, well, I'm gonna lie to a girl to get them, like, or anyone who wants to lie and pretend to be somebody else.
I hate games.
Nah, man, like, be grown up.
Be real.
Like, just be grown. Just have
Right.
open communication. If you're not really trying to find, a long-term committed relationship, then just say so.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
Yeah. And that is a whole nother episode.
Yeah, so many episodes we need.
Conscious communication, like real authentic relating. I mean, there's so much that can be said around that, but I would say really speaking from the I perspective instead of the you perspective, like blaming others. Well, you aren't doing this and you aren't doing that. Well, I feel this because you're doing that.
I feel like what you said earlier, that some people don't want to be honest because they want to have the best of both worlds, but they don't want the other person to have the best of both worlds. So they don't want to tell them, like, I just want to have fun, because they don't want that. Sometimes they want that person only to be for them. But for
double standards.
Yeah. That's not good.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
You cannot have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, well, sometimes you can, but as long as you're honest about
You
that,
gotta be
to the
honest,
cake
yeah.
and to the. Anyway.
You both can have fun, just being honest.
Yeah.
And then, I think as long as you prioritize personal growth, like, what happens is a lot of times, and I'm going to set this down, y'all guys, but y'all can always find it on Amazon. One of the things that we do is when we are in relationships, we kind of like enmesh, like we try to mold ourselves. So like, as long as you prioritize what's in alignment with you and growth, and if it doesn't feel like then it's not the one.
Never forget about yourself or what makes you you.
Yeah, because that's why people fall in love with you.
Yeah.
Right.
They fall in love
And that's
with
how he fell in love with you.
Yes,
For you.
they fell in love with the filmmaker. They fell in love with the goddess and the model and all these things. So like,
Yeah, because that's when codependent patterns come in, and that can definitely destruct a relationship, right? When you're dependent on somebody else, like approving of you, or if they're happy, then you can only be happy. Like, it's just way too, like, having self-sovereignty, I believe, is a very, very important key in partnership and having a healthy one.
Absolutely. Was there anything y'all wanted to add to the many pathways that can lead to a healthy relationship, a healthy connection?
Well, like I mentioned the earlier podcast, like what the last 2 relationships I've had were the healthiest I've ever had. And that's because of monthly check-ins and weekly check-ins. We had Friday, it was relationship goals, at least an hour, talking where we're at, what bothers us. And then the next week we check in from the previous, or where did we work on it? And also monthly was like overall. And that helped a lot. Like having time, even if you're so busy, we're both busy, it helped to connect where we are and where we're supposed to be at. Yeah.
Yeah. And just to be perfectly honest with the audience too, y'all guys, the world that we live in, this modern world, has like really created so many extra not that dating wasn't already hard to begin with, like it's created a whole new set of boundaries and borders and difficulties. So like never be hard on yourself. Never feel like that there's something wrong with you or that you can't experience love. It's just that when we have these conversations, when we talk about it, we can kind of navigate it together, and then you start to realize and let go of those expectations. And as you let those expectations go, then it happens on accident. It's like, I wasn't looking, dang it, now I'm like in a relationship. So like there you go. But it starts with the love of self. And I think that we can all agree on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God.
This has been a good one.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Jenna. I love, I just want to say, this is so good. And thank you, audience, because, really we're doing this collectively. Like this, y'all are participating in our grand experiment of like self-discovery and really we're going through the journey with you. And so wherever you are in that journey, like whether you're in a relationship or you're single or you're just trying to figure it out, just know that you always have a place here with Holistic Love to get that information of self-actualization, of really knowing that we're all in it together. There is no one person who's not experiencing this. We're all experiencing this, and you're not alone.
Yeah, we've got you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in, y'all guys. Oh my God, it was so awesome.
Yay!
Woo! Yes, and again, we wanted to say thank you, God bless, and good night.
Thank you.
Good night.